So I guess with students, to get back to your question, I'm sorry I keep going off on these tangents, but um, for me, I think it's most important that they see me do it. So that I have a student and I play a lot in lessons, and I always found that to be really helpful when I was a student, to have a teacher sit there and play it for you. It's just, there's something about the mechanics of the trumpet being activated in the same room as you are that can kind of make you go, oh yeah, that. And sometimes it's not even a thing you can describe. It's just, I remember being in jazz camp in high school, and Chuck Parrish, who's a great lead player in Chicago, I was kind of frustrated because I couldn't play anything above a G above high C. It would just shut off. And I just heard him play an A in the room in front of me. And something about hearing him do that helped me to do it. There was like a strange osmosis that happened. And so I've taken that into my teaching, and maybe I play too much in lessons, but I like to show my students, no, it's just like this, and to have something that maybe is a wall for them be broken down right in front of them, I think can be empowering. And I don't really understand necessarily the neurological process that makes that happen, but I think there's something to it, and it helps. But then if that doesn't work, yeah, I've got to have some pedagogy ready to go. And I've got to be, okay, this exercise, keep doing this, do it slowly, do it every day, 10 times at this tempo. And let's talk next week and see where you've gotten with it, or some other strategy. But for me, that the two have to work together,
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, you're absolutely right. I mean, there's just something about being with someone, and I think there's maybe two things that go on. One, like for me, when something's difficult, if I can see somebody do it, and not like separated on stage or on a recording or something like that, but I can be there right there next to them while they're doing it, and it kind of breaks down that, well, it can't be done sort of thing. And it's just you're saying, okay, well, they can do it. Then it leads me into looking or listening for clues. It may be like something in the sound. It may be watching the person and seeing, like, when they're, like so many other people having trouble breaking that barrier, the G to the A, crossing that break, and you see somebody and they're like, oh, well, I pushed so hard to do it, but he seems to be easing back a little bit. Oh,
right.
Yeah. Or, just these little tiny things, or watching fingerings, or it just changes in the body. So there's so much that you can learn that way. And that's where I think having a teacher who is open to those kind of processes, that has all the tools in the toolbox. They can talk about it, they can show it,
Right. Yeah. And I remember, and there's also certain things that you can't really put words around. There are certain things that, like you were talking about sound, like, I got to sit next for almost 4 years, sit next to Jim Thompson once a week and hear that glorious sound that man makes. I mean, the sound is so big that it kind of, and it's not loud. It activates so many overtones in the room that it just feels like his trumpet's going to explode in his hands. It's amazing. And I've heard other great players that sound like that. But if you get really close, you kind of hear like a little bit of, and it's like sitting next to a great violinist. Out in the hall, you hear this beautiful singing, rich sound, but sometimes up close, it's a little scratchy and like, oh, that doesn't sound like what I expected it to sound like. And then when you go into the practice room and you've got that sound in your head, it's like, no, it's okay if I've got a little scratch in the sound. That might be some overtones that I'm not used to hearing. It's sort of can open you up in a way that you wouldn't have otherwise if someone was just saying precisely, okay, do this,